Good afternoon and welcome to Wednesday Whispers on a Thursday with Abba Father. It took me a while to grasp, download, capture, understand today's message. It was a fun one in the sense of challenging, and it was challenging me to, after I studied the word in the Bible, to actually ask Abba Father directly and saying to him, what does he want me to say on this? And then I started to receive kind of insight in the scriptures, which was awesome. So today's word is build. Yeah, build. So my husband is a builder, so that's not per toeval. It's quite interesting because I had to go and ask him what is the procedure exactly to build a house, and it's quite significant. I'll explain that later. And then I am a builder of people, and I didn't really put the two together until maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, can't really remember. So it's a real significant word for me. Build is a wonderful word, and it's something that so directly speaks to my life here on earth. So what I want to share with you that struck me is the meaning of the word build in the Old Testament, and then the meaning of the word build in the New Testament. I think it's super special. So the Old Testament is bana in Hebrew, and it means to build, of course, to obtain, to have children, to make, to repair, and to set up. So that was cool to understand, right? And then the New Testament, 5 words, 5 meanings. The first is to construct, and the second is to confirm. The third is to build, of course. Then the fourth was really cool. This was to instruct or improve. What's kind of like, wow. That's also in Greek, the word for build is to instruct or to improve. And then number 5 is to embolden. And I had to go and look what that word means, but it means to give the courage or confidence to do something for someone else. Like not you to do it for someone else, but to give them the courage and the confidence to do something. Sure. So that's really significant because that's how we build each other up, right? So then interesting, when I asked Abba, okay, what does he want me to say? This is what he said. To build your house on the rock means to establish in the cornerstone and move outwards and upwards from there. What does this mean? Know, believe, and feel that you belong, that you abide, and that you are a co-worker with Abba. And to be a co-worker means that you matter. Your Yahweh design matter. The way that he formed you matters. That was really special to me. To be a building, right, means to allow the period for a solid foundation. So that includes, like, if someone wants to build a house, first they need the plan from the architect, right? So yeah, there's a plan and a design. So it's predestined. Just like you were predestined. There's a design for you as well. That was the first step. And then after that, I don't know what that is in English. I'm going to say it in Afrikaans, a landmeter comes, and then he plots out the house on the piece of land so that the builder knows where to start and where the foundation must be. And then only does the digging of the foundation start. Then it's filled up with concrete, and the foundation depth is always determined by the type of house and by the engineer. So what's really striking me with this word is how there are so many people involved in building a house. And to me, it's like, wow, how many people. So the design is originally there, but then there's these different people that bring a small part to the project, then makes it perfect and whole. Wow. Okay, which brings me to the next part. To be a builder of people, which we are, means to allow Abba to mirror himself in the other person, to know where that building is currently at, so that you know if you should do something, because it doesn't help that you want to dig the foundation, but the house or the building is already built up onto window level, if you hear what I'm saying. So it's also important to then be aware and allow Abba to mirror himself in that person, so that you can know whether you should contribute to this building project or then not. Which is interesting, because not everyone has a job to do in every other person's life, right? Some of us are just meant to enjoy some of the people in our lives, and that's overflow. And then in other people's lives, we are building, and they are building in ours. Okay, so then the last thing, and this was a scripture. Do you remember when we spoke about sand? And I said that the only scripture, the meaning that's a bit different from the sand, is the scripture that says to build your house on sand. If it's you that don't listen to or don't apply Jesus' teachings in your life, it's like you're building your house on sand. So the message that I got from that was, building a house on sand means building your house on the opinions and behavior and emotions of people. Because it can never be solid. It's impossible to be solid, because we are all unstable. And what I mean about that is we change our minds. We grow. We have different outlets and different feelings every day. So we cannot... Ons kan nie op mekaar staat maak nie. Ons is nie veronderstel om op mekaar staat te maak nie. We are supposed to rely fully and stand on our Father and not on each other. Because if we stand on our Father and rely on him, then he's mirrored all the time. And then we receive the answers instantly just by being ourselves with each other, for each other. I love that. So I want to read to you the scripture. If you are a builder, I found this scripture. Builder of people, I mean. 1 Corinthians 3. I'm reading from the Mirror translation. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 9 to 17. It says, we are co-employed by God. You are God's agricultural field. Or in another context, you are his building, and he is the architect and engineer of the life of your design. His grace is the only reference for my skill. So this is Paul speaking, if I remember correctly. His gift qualifies me. The faith foundation that I have laid in your lives gives evidence to that. So let the next person take extra caution to build consistent with what grace communicates. Verse 11. Jesus Christ is the only foundation. Nothing that anyone else can possibly teach can replace him. Verse 12. Imagine the contrast in building materials. One builds with gold, silver, and precious stones, while other uses wood, hay, and stubble. And what I experience from this is, when Abba Father builds, or when he instructs someone to build, it's with gold, silver, and precious stones. But when it's a matter of we are building a house on people and their opinions, and it's kind of like living the life that people want us to live, then wood, hay, and stubble is used, because that will just be destroyed by a little bit of wind or a little bit of rain. Okay, then verse 13. Everyone's work shall be tested in the scrutiny of real life. It shall be made apparent as a broad daylight, just as gold is tested in fire. What you live with either burn like stubble or shine like gold. Verse 14. If what you teach is based on the revelation of the success of the cross it will certainly be confirmed in the heat of contradiction. Obviously, to witness the fruit of one's labor go up in smoke would be devastating, even though you escape with your own life. Realize that your life is God's building. And so, being a builder, you realize that people, they are all God's buildings. Different in color, size, purpose, but yet every single one just as important as the other. And then, being God's building means His sanctuary, designed for His permanent abode. His Spirit inhabits you. He designed every cell in your body to accommodate and express Him. Then the last verse, just like fire would burn away the dross, any defilement of God's temple would be destroyed in order to preserve human life as His permanent sanctuary. And this is important because your unconscious mind's main purpose is to make you last as long as possible. And then that means to bring versions of you that are struggling with trauma to the forefront, which then often means you are confronted with stuff that you haven't dealt with in the past that's now coming to life in real events today, which is then a blessing. Because if it's coming to you, then obviously your mind wants to preserve you, and you're being preserved as Abba Father's building. Wow. Okay. And then Ephesians 2, verse 22. Oh, that's weird. I copied it that way. I copied it 22, 21, 20. So I'm going to read it to you, Ephesians 2, verse 20. Your lives now give tangible definition to the spiritual structure having been built into it by God upon the foundation of the prophets and the apostles. Jesus Christ Himself is the chief cornerstone. In Him, every one of us are like living Lego blocks fitted together of the same fabric, giving ever-increasing articulation to a global mobile sanctuary intertwined in the Lord. Wow, I love that. In Him you are co-constructed together as God's permanent spiritual residence. You are God's address. Doesn't that make you smile? Being God's address. You are God's address. How special is that? Wow, I love that. Okay. So what I want to say in the end, or that kind of is the, what shall I call it? The bottom line for me of the message built, is to take the pressure off in wanting to be perfect or wanting to react in a certain way, and then that demonstrates God the best or whatever. To me, it's just to realize there was an original design and nothing's going to change the original design. The original design was approved, destined, and set out. And our Father will fulfill the good work that He started in us. So, wow. Wow. Well, that's it. I hope you have a wonderful, built, blessed day.